This next tribute is one of deep blood and living memory. A grandson's voice carrying the legacy of a grandfather who was more than legend, but love, laughter, and presence. Please welcome Tobi Atte.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everyone who has taken the time to be here today, all the great men and women who have taken the time to speak. It's quite interesting sitting there in the back, having people call him all great names, daddy, a great man. It's interesting to sit there and think that's Grandpa. Grandpa was one of a kind. If you had the privilege of sitting with him, you attest to the certainly divine ability to teach, to challenge, to inspire. And yet I dare say that that's probably not what's greatest about Grandpa. Those things are great, but there are other things that make him great. And there it is again, this use of tense. I guess I've gotten the bug. I've caught it. He was great. And there were some things that made him really great. For example, his ability to eat fish. I know, stay with me. Stay with me. I've sat with Grandpa several times when he ate fish with some soup, and he never ceased to amaze me. It's like a magic trick when he ate fish in soup. He would take a large spoon of fish in his mouth, silence, pausing, his jaws going back and forth, and then at the right moment, he spits out dry bone. Now, I would ask, how does he do that? How does he do that? Watch this. How does he separate what is good from what is dangerous? How does he take the calculated risk of deciphering between what is of character and what is not? How does he decipher? How does he understand in the moment of the risk itself how to separate what is beneficial and what is prickly? I don't know the answer to that, but I do know this. I know it for a fact. He lived his life like he ate fish. Grandpa used his mouth and his voice to separate what was good from what was dangerous for this country and for those he served. Grandpa had no hesitation about calling out what was good fish for us as a society and what was dangerous bones to discard of. He took the risk of bones for the opportunity to find fish. He showed up to the conversation. Grandpa had the bravery to tell it like it is. He lived meticulously, just like he ate fish. The second thing that made Grandpa just divinely great is actually part of the reason why we're here today. Mourning and at the same time rejoicing. Once again, stay with me here. We gather today in mourning and in rejoicing. We mourn for the loss of time, but we rejoice for the time we've had. We mourn for his great wisdom, but we rejoice for his example. We mourn that we're not able to call his name, but we rejoice and are grateful for the name that he has left us. We mourn that we're unable to hear his voice, but we rejoice that he gave us direction. We mourn Grandpa because we are no longer able to see him, but we rejoice for his foresight. But that does not answer the question, how does mourning and rejoicing make him great? The answer is simple. He had an unmatched ability to see people as better than they saw themselves and to see society as better than it saw itself. And so for those personal relationships that he held to such high esteem, to such high standards that it almost felt like your relationship almost broke because of the high standard he held you to? For those relationships that were so tensioned because of the standard that he held us all to, it was because he was mourning over us before we got to mourn over him. He had this innate desire to push us to our very best. But here's the thing. Yes, he mourned for us, desired to push us to our very best. But here's the thing. No one can do that for that long and that consistently without the other side of the coin. No one can do that without also rejoicing. Because mourning can only get you so far in this push to get people to be better, to get society to be better. You do it for that long and for that consistently, with that level of passion, because there's also a side of you that is rejoicing. Though yet the thing has not come to pass, the rejoicing keeps you going. No one can be that disturbed by who you are not yet. No one can be that disturbed and continue to invest in you for that long without being driven not just by mourning, but also by the joy for who you have the potential to become. Because the truth is that you can only tell it like it is for as long as he did when it comes from a place of rejoicing. And so as much as he mourned that we as individuals and as a nation are not where we're meant to be, he rejoiced in the potential of what and who we could become. You see, what he fought for, all the great people that have spoken before me, what he fought for at the expense of personal wealth, at the expense of family and children, at the expense of relationships, at the expense of political appointments, on many occasions at the risk of his very life, was that we would have a Nigeria where the maximum human potential was realized. What he fought for was that all regions of the country have equitable opportunities for both self-determination and have the ability to contribute to collective national prosperity. He mourned and rejoiced about having a Nigeria where political leaders are appointed who see their offices literally as divine assignments to make the lives of people better. He mourned and he rejoiced. He mourned and rejoiced. He mourned over the suffering of the masses and rejoiced for every inch of progress in government to alleviate their suffering. He mourned and rejoiced about the thought of a Nigeria where political leaders are compelled for good, compelled by something greater than themselves. He mourned and he rejoiced about the common man, that we would rise to our highest potential without positions, without appointments. He mourned about how far we are from a baseline of good national character, and yet he rejoiced about how close we are to a new national character if we all just care a little bit more for our nation, at least as much as we care about ourselves and our pockets. And so I try to land this plane. For those of us that got to spend time with Grandpa in the newsroom, in the meeting room, in the national conference room, in the political conference room, in the action group, Nadeko, Afenifere meeting room, in his living room, and if you got the rare privilege, in his bedroom chair by the window. If you got that chance, you have felt this morning, you've experienced how driven he is by the joy of what is possible for us all. So as I wrap up, where does that leave us today? We should be rejoicing for him, rejoicing that he lived a long, fruitful, productive life, but we should mourn for ourselves. We should mourn for ourselves because he has left us individually and collectively, as the grace that came before him did, with the weight and the burden of bringing to reality what he mourned and rejoiced in advance over. We should mourn for ourselves that we are left to figure out how to live up to the version that he rejoiced over us to become. And thankfully, mourning is not all we have today. We also have rejoicing. We can rejoice too in the fact that till his last breath, he rejoiced over what we had the potential to be. He saw us better than we saw ourselves. And with that joy cheering us on, we must eat the fish of life just like he did, meticulously, with purpose, separating fish from bone, and never being afraid to tell it like it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sure that wherever Papa is, and I believe we know where he is, he certainly will be rejoicing. He certainly will be proud. Second generation, congratulations. You know there are secrets, Tobi, between grandparents and grandchildren. I'm a grandparent, so I know. He just happened to allow you to find out the secret of the fish. But let me also tell you that despite all that has been said, we can rejoice because weeping endureth for a night. But we know that joy cometh in the morning. Please give Tobi another round of applause. Thank you.